Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing it once again. We are seeing the Democrats try and play the playbook that they played in 2017 through 2020. The playbook of fight everything that Trump wants to do. If Trump wants to secure the border, you pretend there is no border issues and everything's fine. But then when the American people wake up to the border issue, you blame it on Trump. Then when Trump was running for president and he says everything is really expensive, they say, oh, no, Bidenomics is working. Well, now Trump has only been in office for 1 week. Why isn't everything cheaper yet? So in the same sentence, they get caught lying twice. And they also admit that there is a food cost crisis, grocery prices crisis, inflation crisis. But what they are doing now today is easily, probably the sickest thing, the most disgusting thing I've seen Democrats or any politicians ever do. And that is say, you want to save the children? Screw you. We want to fill them with vaccines, with all these hormones. We want to make sure they're eating dirty food. Why? Well, because special interest donors, these big pharma companies, these big food companies and organizations have paid off our politicians, especially on the left, and we're going to talk about it. See, Kennedy's confirmation hearing started today, and, well, it went just as you thought it would go. It was disgusting. It was horrible. You could tell that these people hate the babies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. I got a good one for you today. Do me a huge favor, smash that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed with bell notifications on. Leave me a comment. How are you doing today? Where are you watching me from? Let's get right into it. Before we continue into the show, just a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is VERITY Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, I go to them for all my gold and silver questions. They do IRAs, 401ks, retirement plans, and cash savings, and they protect your wealth through physical gold and silver. And if you want to get free silver, call that number 480-717-9081. Tell them Vlad sent you. That's it. On your next order, they'll hook you up. Links down below in the description. Let's continue. Boom. We're going to jump right onto right here. We are going to, I want to show you this. This is a executive order that Donald Trump signed earlier, last night. So here's what it says, and the Democrats hate this. So this executive order is called Protecting Children from Chemical and Surgical Mutilation. And here's what it says. By the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1, Policy and Purpose. According to the country today, medical professionals are maiming and sterilizing a growing number of impersonable children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. This dangerous trend will be a stain on our nation's history, and it must end. Countless children soon regret that they have been mutilated and begin to grasp the horrifying tragedy that they will never be able to conceive children of their own or nurture their children through breastfeeding. Moreover, these vulnerable youths' medical bills may rise throughout their lifetimes as they are often trapped with lifelong medical complications, a losing war with their own bodies, and tragically, sterilization. Accordingly, it is the policy of the United States that it will not fund, it will not sponsor, it will not promote or assist or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another, and it will rigorously enforce all laws that prohibit or limit these destructive and life-altering procedures. Section 2, definitions. For the purpose of this order, the term child or children means an individual or individuals under 19 years of age. B, the term pediatric means relating to the medical care of children. C, The phrase chemical and surgical mutilations means the use of puberty blockers, including GnRH agonists and other interventions to delay the onset or progression of normally timed puberty in an individual who does not identify as his or her sex. The use of sex hormones such as androgen blockers, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone to align an individual's physical appearance with an identity that differs from his or her sex. The surgical procedures. So it goes on to say, no more doing that. No more gender affirming care if you're 19 or under. Section 3, ending reliance on junk science. So no more fake science. And it goes on. So it just goes on and goes on and goes on. And Trump says, no more. No more destroying our children. But you know what the Democrats are doing? They don't like that. Trump right there says, I am protecting the children. Well, okay, what's the child? 19 or under. We don't want it. Look, if you're an adult, go do what you want. Pay for it yourself. The government's not going to pay for it. It's like Kamala wanted to give trans surgeries to illegal immigrants who are in prison. Not only that, but they wanted to give surgeries to men that identify as women who are in prison for life for murder. Now, if I was a man locked up in prison for the rest of my life with other men, and I was like, I want to be around some women. I'm tired of being around all these men. I'd identify as a woman. Shoo. I'd identify as a woman real quick, right? I mean, what else you got to lose? And then we hear the horror stories of, in California, there's a man who's in life for prison for raping women. And then he identifies as a woman. And then they put him in with the women, and a bunch of women get pregnant. Who would have thought that the rapist, woman abuser, woman rapist, who's in prison for life for that thing, is actually lying to us when he says he doesn't like women anymore? Who would have thought? I would have never in a blue moon. But today's hearing, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch a few clips, and I want to get your take. Clip number 1.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection, when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
So is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory? Or are you in a position to submit for the record?
Not yet.
I think it'd just be helpful.
So did you hear that? The guy's like, are you a conspiracy theorist, sir? He says, no, but what's crazy is everything that I've ever said, you know, sooner or later becomes a reality, becomes the truth. Now, before we continue back to Kennedy, this is from yesterday's press conference, and they were talking about Doge, and they were talking about money. Do you want to know how the Democrat government has been spending your money? You want to know? Listen to this.
Why oppose this pause with so little notice? Why not give
Let's
organizations?
move forward.
There was notice. It was the
There
executive
we
order
go.
that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is
that's
no
not
longer
it.
wants the United States
Listen
to
to
be a
this
part of.
next
That
one.
wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this
50 million was about to go out the door, and Doge stopped it to fund condoms in Gaza. Now, to every pro-Gazan Democrat, you should be angry, ripping your hair out, screaming, "What do you mean? Joe Biden wanted to make sure they don't have babies?" Yeah, I guess it's not the right who hates the Gazan people. It's actually the Democrats, because they don't want them to have babies. And here's our favorite fake Native American Indian, whatever she is, Pocahontas, losing her mind for 27 seconds.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me,
repeatedly,
Senator, you're
efforts
asking me not to sue
requirements are-
vaccine
No,
pharmaceutical
I am
companies.
not.
No, I am
My
Yeah, you
question
are.
is stop
That's exactly what
enriching.
you're doing.
No, look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and
Good.
vaccine manufacturers.
I'll comply.
We're happy. That's what we want. And here's my favorite part of this is the multi-millionaire Bernie Sanders, who doesn't like millionaires, but yet he's a millionaire himself. He charges $80,000 for 1 hour to come and speak at your political events or your university, complaining about anti-vax onesies that are worth $26. Now, as you're watching this, I want you to think, how do foreign leaders, our adversaries like in Russia, Iran, China, when they see something like this, how do they feel?
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way.
$26.
Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive.
Are you supportive of these onesies? These onesies, they're going to destroy democracy. These onesies. And can you imagine, again, Putin, Xi, they're watching this and they're like, a senator who's 80 years old, a socialist who doesn't pay his fair share. Onesies. The onesies are going to be the end of democracy. I mean, you're the oldest, freakish looking dude on Capitol Hill, and you don't make up with it, but with your actions.
Supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is...
Do you support onesies? Yes or no? Onesies lives matter. And look, everyone in the back, including Kennedy, everyone's just laughing.
militantly anti-vaccine.
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blackburn.
Ladies and gentlemen, we figured it out. The onesies are going to be the end of America as we know it. The onesies will destroy this nation. The onesies that are sold for $26. I have a question about these military tribunals. We've been waiting for like 8 years for them to start. And the words of the great General Flynn, if there's a plan, they need to hurry up. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed today, Trump comes out, right, on the morning of the hearing, the morning of when Kennedy's hearing begins, confirmation hearing, he signs his executive order protecting children from mutilation. Kennedy's, on the other hand, he wants to protect our children from bad food, from mass vaccination. And the Democrats are going crazy. They can't stand it that somebody's standing up for the babies, for the children, for the next generation. But hey, that's what the Democrats do. They take something and they destroy it. Joe Biden was handed America. Yes, we had COVID at the time, but besides that, so much was happening. And they came in and destroyed everything. They destroyed the border. They destroyed world peace, peace in the Middle East. They destroyed everything. But that's what they do. That's who they are. Because they are controlled by the spirit of destruction. Changed my mind. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate each and every one of you. That's going to wrap it up for this live. I'll see you in the next one. Give the video a thumbs up. MAGA.